Yamunatiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto 19th chapter text number 20. Please repeat after me. Dushtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Drushtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Nanudhyayena Sandishet Nanudhyayena Sandishet Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk Drishtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Nanudhyayena Sandishet Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk Drishtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Nanudhyayena Sandishet Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk Drishtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Nanudhyayena Sandishet Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk Drishtam Shrutam Asad Buddha Nanudhyayena Sandishet Samshrutim Chatmanasham Cha Tatra Vidvan Sa Atmadruk. Word to word translation. Drushtam. Please repeat after me. Drushtam. The material enjoyment we experience in our present life. Shrutam. material enjoyment as promised to the fruity workers for future happiness, either in this life or in the next, in the heavenly planets and so on. Asat, all temporary and bad. Buddhva, knowing. Na, not. Anudhyayet, one should even think of. Na, nor. Sandishet, should actually enjoy. Samshritim, prolongation of material existence. Cha, and. Atmanasham, forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. Cha, as well as. Tatra, in such a subject matter. Vidwan, one who is completely aware. Saha, such a person. Atmadruk, a self-realized soul. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad, in this life or in the next, on this planet or on the heavenly planets, is temporary and useless, and that an intelligent person should not try to enjoy or even think of such things, is the knower of the self. Such a self-realized person knows quite well that material happiness is the very cause of continued material existence and forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. Purport. The living entity is a spiritual soul, and the material body is his engagement. This is the beginning of spiritual understanding. Dehino asmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. The real mission of human life is to get free from engagement in the material body. Therefore, Krishna descends to teach the conditioned soul about spiritual realization and how to become free from material bondage. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. The words dharmasya glanihi mean pollution of one's existence. Our existence is now polluted and it must be purified. Sattvam shuddhyet. The human life is meant for this purification, not for thinking of happiness in terms of the external body, which is the cause of material bondage. Therefore, in this verse, Maharaj Jayati advises that whatever material happiness we see and whatever is promised for enjoyment is all merely flickering and temporary. Abrahma bhuvanal loka punar avartino Arjuna. Even if one is promoted to Brahmalok, if one is not freed from material bondage, one must return to this planet Earth and continue in the miserable condition of material existence. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. One should always keep this understanding in mind so as not to be allured by any kind of sense enjoyment in this life or in the next. One who is fully aware of this truth is self-realized, sa atmadrak. But aside from him, everyone suffers in the cycle of birth and death. Mrityu samsara vatmani. This understanding is one of true intelligence, and anything contrary to this is but a cause of unhappiness. Krishna bhakta nishkama ateva shanta. Only a Krishna conscious person who knows the aim and object of life is peaceful. All others, whether karmis, jnanis or yogis, are restless and cannot enjoy real peace. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad, in this life or in the next, on this planet or on the heavenly planets, is temporary and useless, and that an intelligent person should not try to enjoy or even think of such things, is the knower of the self. Such a self-realized person knows quite well that material happiness is the very cause of continued material existence and forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. So we see here Maharaj Jayati is continuing to preach to Devayani and is reaching a particular conclusion here. He is reaching the conclusion that this material happiness is the cause of continued material existence. And you'll see that right after this, he gives up his material position and gives up his acquired youth, gives it back to his son Puru, distributes the kingdom to different parts of the world to each of his 4 sons. And he makes Puru, even though he's the youngest, he makes him the emperor over all his other sons. And he goes goes on to reach full self-realization and becomes an eternal associate of the Lord. Now sometimes one might think, oh, this is very convenient. Enjoy fully, and then suddenly say, now everything I should give up. Right? Everything is waste. Now, there are different devotees in the described in the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that are examples for us to understand this in a proper sense. The reality is this: Any material enjoyment that is not directly associated with the Supreme Lord, that comes as prasadam of its own accord, and where we are not interested, as the Shastras are telling, one should not even think of this material pleasure. Unless you reach such level of understanding, one should not even try to enjoy, forget try to enjoy, or even think of such things. Then only can you actually even properly enjoy the prasadam of the Lord. And again, the word enjoy here, we have to be careful. Like usually the word enjoy for us means lusting over something. That's what we have so gotten used to, that material conception. And so this is accepting something as prasadam of the Lord. Right? So let's talk about some examples from the Shastras of different devotees who have been in similar situations. Any other examples come to place? Shaubari Muni. So Shaubari Muni, and the main thing was, why have I wasted so much of my time? Right? Who else? There's another very famous devotee. There are many more. Vishwamitra in what sense? Because we don't think of him in that sense. Yes, okay. See, Vishwamitra falling for Menaka, and later just giving up, saying, oh, this was a trick by Indra to waste my time. But again, his pursuit was what? Not pure devotional service, but his pursuit was, he was to become Maharishi, Brahmarshi, right? Who? So the another devotee very clearly these things. There's one other devotee who goes after some material thing and later Dhruva Maharaj, like the perfect example, right? Not even exactly, and he's feeling so bad, saying, "Oh, why?" He didn't want it. Also, he said, "No, I don't want." Right, and then, despite him not wanting, Krishna still gives, and then he's still feeling, "Oh, why am I wasting time?" You see the difference over there? He was not. He went with a clear intention. See, always Krishna is you cannot trick Krishna. He is sitting straight in your Paramatma, in your heart. You try to play some mind tricks, I'll give up so that I don't get. Krishna will deal with you exactly like that. Right? Like Dhruva Maharaj's example. He had an intention. Krishna said, no, you have to take this. And from Dhruva Maharaj's perspective, it's a waste of his time. Right? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is this whole description of Kulavecha Sridhara. So we all usually talk about that one part of the initial part of Kulavecha Sridhara's pastime, where he was a very, very ardent devotee of the Lord, and a very, very meager existence he had. Right? He was selling banana leaves, those banana cups and leaves and all the things made out of leaves. Kulavecha means coming from this thing, Sridhara. Right? There are actually very interesting pastimes of Kulavecha Sridhara and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nimai Pandit. This was happening when he was still Nimai Pandit. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit would very regularly go to him and he would tease him. He would show up at his house and say, "Hey, what is this? You are hiding some big wealth. You're only acting like this, like a poor person. You're hiding some big wealth. Take me to your house." And then he takes him to his house. They're like, "Show me your wealth. Where is this thing?" He said, "No, I don't have anything. This is all I have. You're just a show and all that. But anyway, give me these leaves, and give me these banana fruits, and these things." And there's a very interesting in the Chaitanya Bhagavata. It describes how Kulavecha Sridhara was thinking about this situation. He was thinking, see, this Brahmana, because he does not know that Nimai Pandit is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he's playing tricks with him. He is thinking like, oh, this Brahmana, Nimai Pandit, is a little crazy person. If I'm not careful, he might even beat me up. And he's thinking, actually, he wants something and I'm only asking for its proper value, small value I'm asking. Technically, you should pay me and take this. But it is okay, he's a Brahmana. If a Brahmana is coming and asking for something, even though I don't have the money, it is my good fortune that he is asking and I should happily give him. And that is how, many times, without taking any money, he would give him. And it is said that Nimai Pandit would relish eating on the plates made from, sent from, Kulavecha Sridhara's this thing. He would relish the banana preparations, and sometimes the roots was, sometimes banana leaf, especially in Kerala, if you go, every part of the banana tree is used very, very effectively. The stem, they make some sabji out of it. And so, like that, he was enjoying that stem of that. And it seems there was once this nice pumpkin grew on the roof of Kulavecha Sridhara's house. And he specifically asked for that to be sent. And a very special preparation was made from that pumpkin, and Nimai Pandit enjoyed it. So like this, the Lord had a very joking relationship with Kulavecha Sridhara. And later, in the Shiva's Angan, when once, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets into the mood of, like the Mahaprakasha Leela, they say, gets in the mood of Vishnu, Krishna and Rama together. And he goes and sits on the altar. In the past, he would go and in his ecstasy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would jump on the altar and all that, but remembering Krishna and all that. But this time, he was in a different mood. He went there, he sat on the altar. And this is Sapta Prahara Leela, it's also called. Each Prahara is about 3 hours. Sapta Prahara means 7 times 3, 21 hours. He exhibited this very, very special mood of being worshipped. And then all the devotees could see this special mood and went to the Ganges and offered him Abhishek. It is said that, they offered chandan and musk and, different kinds of incense and bathed him and milk and honey and all that. It was a very, very wonderful Abhisheka happened for the Lord. And it's very notable that in this pastime, when he was in this mood, he says, "Oh, go get me Kulavecha Sridhara." At that time, actually, among the devotee community, nobody knows Kulavecha Sridhara. He's not like one of the key persons, or he's not Srivas Pandit or this. He's not like a known person. And everybody had to say, who is Kulavecha Sridhara? Where is he? And all that. They had to go look for him. And his house was in the middle of the forest. They had to go get him. It is described. And then in that pastime, the Lord says, that I want to give you some benediction. Right? I want you to, enjoy the opulence of of the higher planetary systems, this and that. And Kulavacha says, no, please, I don't want this. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I want to give you all the Ashtasiddhis. They said, no, please, I don't want this. I want to give you full Gnana. He said, no, I don't want this. And so there's exchange between Kulavacha Sridhara and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this mood over there. And then finally, Kulavacha Sridhara says, if at all you really want to give me anything, I just want to ask you one thing. Please give me the opportunity to serve you with this, my banana leaves and these different offerings. You see, a very, very wonderful example. The Lord is telling, I want to give you this, I want to give you this. He said, no, but what mood is he wants to serve? He is only thinking about my banana leaves and my this thing, I want to serve you. Just give me this opportunity so that I can render this service and so that you can accept this service. So that is why Kulavacha Sridhara is very, very particularly praised and set up as an example of something. Again, see, completely different contrast. Not Dhruva Mara story, not Yayati story, right? Where they were given all this opulence, not Shaubhari Muni story or anything like that. Right? It's significantly different. So now, based on all of these things, one should say, how does it apply to us? What does this mean for us in our spiritual life? See, the fundamental thing we should all understand is that any time we indulge in material sense gratification, it is a cause of bondage. If we are not careful, many devotees get deviated, like Maharaj Yayati, thousands of years. There were others, King Puranjana, no, not Puranjana, what is that? Prachina Barhi, right? He goes after Urvasi and this and so many lifetimes, becomes a Gandharva, Pururava. Gandharva and all those things. It's like huge waste of time. At least these are cases where they wasted time, but they at least got back to Krishna consciousness. But there are so many devotees, we can get easily caught up in this material engagements. Jara Bharata, just because of attachment to the deer, 3 lives. Right? So one should understand that getting this material body, is a punishment. And when you are very, very fortunate to come across a pure devotee of the Lord, and for the first time being exposed to pure devotional service, one should be very, very careful not to fall victim to material sense gratification. All of us, all our different knowledge acquiring senses and working senses, different senses are different strength for different people. Right? Some people have some challenge with one sense and some people have some challenge with some other sense. As long as your material body, something is holding you down here. Otherwise you wouldn't be having this material body. You should always understand that. And one should, be careful about how do we deal with this. When the Goswamis talk about, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, especially Rupa Goswami, when he talks about what is Krishna consciousness, right? When the Bangalore temple, when we used to give out this prasadam, the kaja we used to give in this butter paper. On this butter paper, right, something was printed. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. This is to emphasize that devotional Krishna consciousness means there are 2 things to be done. There are things that we do and things we should not do. Exercising of both of them is an exercise of our spiritual muscles and our exercise of our free will. The only thing that Atma has is free will or attention. We have to exercise both. There are some do's and some don'ts as well. So, for example, in terms of material sense gratification, right? What are don'ts? Yeah, first, and it's very, very fundamental. You see, let's take for example, our eyes. See, in the Shastras, different examples are given. Like a fish, its sense of taste is its downfall. Right? This fish is, seeing one worm dangling or piece of this thing dangling. You see, you observe there are sometimes the natural when they make these videos of natural this thing. You'll see that they will go near and they'll go away. They'll go near, then they'll go away. Because they know something fishy, For the pun intended. What is this? Suddenly in the middle of this thing is hanging over here. And also they'll think, if this was here, somebody would have taken it before. Some risk is there. They'll go near, they'll go away, they'll go near. Suddenly they'll fall for the temptation. They'll go catch and then tuck, they're gone. Right? Such a, is not that they're aware, there are others also ring, and suddenly one fellow will go, they'll get caught. That person will get caught. And others will say, see, now this was wrong. But that is the nature of material sense gratification. Right? The Shastras explain, how the sense of touch. Who falls for sense of touch? Elephant. Right? The touch of the she elephant is so this thing for it that maddened by it. Such a huge elephant, so strong, like the strongest animal. He just falls trap for that. Right? For eyes, is there an example given? The moth, right? That gets attracted by the light and then goes and goes and goes and then falls into the flame. All of us, we have each of these senses is like that, very, very strong. Right? Is there a one for the smell? Deer is music, hearing. Lotus flower. Honeybee going into the lotus flower. Right? It is so enchanted by that lotus, this thing. And it goes and it is enjoying and it's not even noticing that it is closing also. Because the closing is not like suddenly it closes. Slowly it closes. Even that it is not able to, understand and this thing, and it gets trapped inside the lotus. Right? So, deer for hearing. And as I said, each of us have a weakness in this. One of our. You can all understand if you go properly. This is why one should, this thing. Which of your senses, this thing. Like for example, because of my, I have allergies many other times. So my sense of smell is very attenuated. Meaning like once in a while I smell. Like most of the time I don't smell things. And so some other sense will be more enhanced. Right? For example, I can clearly see that my eyes are very, very sharp. It is very fine details it can, distinguish. And it's like anything I look, like, and even my memory is based on my seeing. Like I remember pages of, like when I read something, I literally can recollect pages of it. Something that is in 40 years ago, I can just flash in front of me like that. So, my sense of eyesight is my danger zone. So, one should be careful. Everybody has, somebody may be tongue, somebody may be this. So, there is a proper arrangement. Maya has created a nice set of things. So, now, when you talk about the don'ts, for each sense, there is, what are the don'ts kind of thing. Right? So, when it comes to, for example, don't, for the eyesight. There's a spectrum of things we should not do. There are things that fall under sinful activities. Then there are things that fall under sense gratification. Then there are things that fall under proper spiritual utilization of that particular sense for the proper prasadam enjoyment. Right? Now, any material enjoyment that falls in the first two categories is entangling. The first category is very deeply entangling, creates reactions. So much of pain and suffering is involved with that, because most sinful activities are in tamoguna, and the so-called happiness at that point is actually suffering, deep suffering for the soul, and it is suffering now and suffering in the future also. But Maya creates this whole illusion that it is not. At least the second category of things where you are properly paying, in the second category of things where you are engaging in sense gratification, you are paying a price for what you are getting and you are enjoying. It is entangling, but at least it is not significantly sinful. Right? When just like the Shastras talk about when depending on varna and ashrama and everything, there is a particular sacrifice or price you have to pay for something, and then you can enjoy that. Or we always give the example: you go to a store, you give money, you buy something, and then you take it and enjoy. That is sense gratification following the Vedic system. When you go and steal, that is sinful activity, first category. Right? Like, when we talk about, let's say for example, we're just focusing on the sense of eyes. When one indulges in sinful activities, what are like sinful activities with the eyes? Some examples. Watching inappropriate stuff. What else? Yeah, lustfully watching the opposite gender. That would also fall under, that category. So what is in the middle category? Where you're paying something and you're enjoying for the eyes. Huh? Entertainment. You go sit and watch a movie or something. Pirated. Pirated will fall under sinful. See, that is our material rules. We should think about spiritual rules in this matter. Right? When you are engaging in that sense gratification, right? Now, when you are paying a price for it, right? Some hard-earned earnings, some karma is involved. You are spending the time, the energy, and all that. But there are reactions to it. It entangles you. It wastes significant amount of your time. You will realize also, yeah, what a waste of time it was. But next time it happens, oh no, it's so nice. Social media and all this, we talk about this digital intoxication. If you really, somebody thoughtfully sits and calculates, how much of my life have I wasted, in these useless things? Because ultimately, it does not give you happiness. It gives you that momentary this thing, and then it only, because it is just like scratching. You scratch an itch, what happens? Itch only increases. Your material engagement is increasing, and your problem is also increasing, and then you're not getting happiness also. At least finally, if you're happy, at least you can say, okay, chalo bhai, thoda time waste kar diya. No, it only makes you more long to do more. So if you think about it, if somebody is wasting 3 hours or 2 hours for watching a movie, it's not just the 2 hours. Think about it for a second. How many hours are there in a day? 24 hours. Out of 24 hours, how many hours do you really get to do meaningful tapasya? That is not a proper utilization of your time. I'm saying tapasya. Like, how much, again, that's a good point you're bringing up. For many people, it's only 4 to 5 hours. But if you're highly disciplined, You're super sharp, very careful. Every minute of your time, if you're careful, how many hours can you do? 18, huh? Maybe 12. 10, 12. Once you start hitting, because I've personally tried this multiple times, you start hitting beyond 13, 14 and all, it's unsustainable. 12, 13 it's like you do nothing else except tapasya, and this because you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to what, you have to take bath, you have to do this, and we also chant, right? 2 hours for this. So between anywhere from 4 to 5 hours to even 12 hours if you take. So 2 hours going means it is, for many people, half the day is gone. Or at least 25% of your day is gone. And if you add like that, as you get older and all that, can you do this? Finally, when you get old, 4 or 5 hours is like, oh, big achievement. Right? So if you add like that, so much of our life is wasted on something which is not very helpful. So that is why one has to be very, very careful about preserving. See, but the reality is this. The only way we can get away from sense gratification, param drishtvana nivartate. We have to, we have to take pleasure in, we have to enjoy Krishna consciousness. We have to enjoy prasadam. If you don't have things in that enjoying prasadam, you will be forced. The other day also saying, if you're hungry, when somebody is starved, even garbage they will eat. Right? Sometimes it happens for us also, right? When you are nice and this thing, then somebody brings something, a little bit you will honor. No, little bit only is there. Something you like so much and it is this thing, then you will eat that little bit more. Right? But if you are very, very hungry and it is not there, nothing is there, any useless thing also comes, let me eat. Right? There is this description, in the Shastras. Which Rishi was that? I think Vedavyasa only, right? Which Rishi is that where there is a big famine and there is nothing to eat and they are starving for so long, and finally they go and beg a dog eater to give some dog meat, to give some meat. Anybody remembers? This is there in the Shastras. I'm surprised. So there is this, I will come back and tell next time. It's an actual instance that happened. One of our very famous rishis, by the way, is not some ordinary person. And then finally, he says, oh, you are such a big rishi. Why are you asking meat like this? Because the Shastras give that example of saying, in the extreme conditions, eating meat is also allowed, even for a saintly person. Because he would have, this is like 45 days or something, he would have been fasting. And that was the only way to preserve the existence of his body, kind of thing. And then also there is a feeling of this thing, and it is a testing of the person to extreme position. So like that, one has to be very, very careful. So unless we indulge in enjoying in a Krishna conscious way, it is very difficult to give up material things. So that is why one has to have a clear, when it's also about building, it's also about building our spiritual strength. So for example, sadhana, right? One has to have a really good sadhana. It's a day-to-day basis. If you have to resist from material sense gratification, you have to enjoy the holy name. The holy name has to fill you with happiness, and so much of Satchidananda should be flowing within you. And also one has to participate in kirtans. You have to hear nice kirtans, listen to nice Bhagavatam, eat nice prasadam in a very regulated way. All these things, if you don't do, it becomes a challenge. And one has to be careful about different times of the day when you get falling trap. Like I have talked to many devotees, I have also personally experienced. Night time is a very dangerous time for the tongue. Suddenly at 9 o'clock in the night, you'll feel very hungry. 8 o'clock, no hunger. Suddenly at that time, you eat, you know that you have eaten the same thing at the same time, next day morning you have suffered. It has happened 1,000 times, but still the 1,001st time it is a very normal attraction. So what do you do? One thing is don't keep anything near you. Second is sleep off as early as possible, because as soon as tamoguna starts, evening and all is once it is past 9 o'clock, nothing good happens. Nothing good happens in this world after 9 p.m., even 8:30 itself. That is the only compromise. I told you when I was talking to devotees, I told them, if you are so tempted, only thing you can eat is fruit. At least that will save you from next day morning suffering, little less suffering. Otherwise, only suffering. There's no this thing, that momentary, that 5-second pleasure, and then next day morning suffering. Right? So that is why one has to properly understand these things, so that we can, how can we do more and more? One thing you should remember, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradihi tivena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Just because today we cannot resist the temptation of our tongue or eyes or nose, and we are falling prey to the material things, at least connect it to Krishna. Doesn't matter. Connect it to Krishna. You not directly prasadam, this way prasadam also you can take, like dovetailing we say, right? Nice dovetailing is very simple, like this eating. No, but you want to eat like this, that's also okay, but at least eat Krishna prasadam like this. So that way you're still connected to Krishna. So that connection to Krishna will waste time, but at least it will take you back to Godhead. So under no circumstances we should give up our Krishna consciousness attachment to finally dovetailing our weaknesses in the Lord's service. It's 45 minutes past. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Bol Premanand.